So I'm back in the kitchen, and what I decided to make with the ingredients that I had, or at least I bought from HEB. So I've got some andouille sausage. It's about 12 ounces, give or take, sliced in the coins. I also have some chicken that's been diced up, and then the holy trinity of Cajun cooking. So what I'm actually going to make is jambalaya. I'm not going to add any shrimp to this. I could if I wanted to, but I don't have any in the freezer. Last time I made this recipe, instead of using chicken, I used the pork loin. But we'll start with the basics here. So I'm going to render down my sausage for a couple of minutes, get it browned, get the oil or the fats out of it. So I have a nice base at the bottom of this. And I'll have a fond on the bottom as well too. Once that's done, take it out. I'll add the chicken to it. I might add a little bit of extra oil to it so I can brown the chicken as well too. Add the Cajun seasonings to it, take that out, and then we'll add the vegetables, saute them, do the same thing as well too, add everything back. Now, in the case of this, I actually made my own Cajun seasoning, and it's not as difficult as you think. You have a base of about 3 tablespoons of smoked paprika. You have a tablespoon or two of salt, fine salt. You have a tablespoon of white pepper. You have a tablespoon of garlic powder. You had a tablespoon of oregano and a half a tablespoon of thyme. And that's your basic ingredients for Cajun seasoning. And this will last me a fair amount of time. Now, for the paprika that I had, I also added an extra tablespoon of this. This is a Flat Iron Pepper Company. This is their dark and smoky. So this adds an extra little bit of smokiness to it as well too. And I added some Urfa Biber to it as well. So you got your traditional spices that you would have, as well as some non-traditional spices that go into it as well too. You can adjust the salt on it, but I think a tablespoon of salt for the other ingredients they have inside of this, that's a perfect amount to add to it. And because these are all dry ingredients, they'll last forever, relatively speaking. So there's that. So this has been going for a minute or so. You can see maybe into the cast iron or the Dutch oven I have here. It is cooking down. I will add a little bit of oil to this, but it is browning up very nicely. And I had this over a medium heat as well too. So we'll continue to let this cook. I'll add the chicken to it once this is done cooking. Don't want to bore you with the minutiae and the details of actually cooking all this stuff out. So we'll go with that. The sausage has been pulled out and rendered down. So what I'm doing now is adding the chicken to this. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning to this to help season up the chicken as it is cooking as well too. Added about a half a tablespoon of oil as well too to help prevent the chicken from sticking to the bottom of the pot. So what I'm going to do with this is basically just brown this up for a couple of minutes. And then from there, pull this out, add the vegetables, saute and cook them as well too. And then we'll move forward and add the rest of the wet ingredients. And the wet ingredients are going to be basically I have vegetable stock instead of chicken stock. I'm going to add a couple of cans of tomatoes. Then we'll do the rice, add everything back in together, so then we'll cook out as we go forward from there. So I've got a nice fond in the bottom of the Dutch oven here, and a bit of oil as well too. So what I'm going to do is remove the chicken, add it to the sausage that I've got. And what I'm going to do next is add the vegetables and saute them down. And then I'll add the tomatoes to that as well too, once the vegetables have sauteed down a bit. So got about 2 cups of onions here and a cup of peppers and a little over a cup, maybe a cup of celery as well too. So, and in this case, I'm not using a traditional bell pepper. I'm going to use a hatch chili instead. One, because it was a part of this week's produce box that I have, and I needed to use it. And two, the flavor between a bell pepper and a hatch chili is fairly similar. They're not overly spicy. They're not going to be overwhelming in flavor. But they do have similar properties when it comes to cooking. So I'm going to do that. Now, don't need to turn the heat up too high on this, but I do need to make sure that nothing really sticks to the bottom too hard. So get everything covered here with oil and everything like that. Let it cook and simmer down for a couple of minutes. And then I'll add another tablespoon of the Cajun seasoning to this as well too. Stir it up. And then I'll add the tomatoes to it as well along the way. But I want to make sure that everything in here at least gets soft before I add the tomatoes, because otherwise they're just not going to cook down correctly. So we'll let this sit and cook for a couple of minutes and I'll be back. So the vegetables have been cooking and simmering now for about, I'd say 5 or so minutes, and they're well and softened. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add can of tomatoes here. I actually have 2 cans, 2 14-ounce cans of tomatoes, and I'm going to add to this. One is fire roasted, and the other can is whole stewed San Marzanos. And I'm just going to break them up gently with my spoon here, so they can kind of cook down a little bit as well too. And then here's the can of fire roasted tomatoes, and these are diced. I could add a tablespoon or 2 of tomato paste, but I don't really think it's necessary. I'll let this sit and simmer for a minute or so, and then let me measure out the rice that I need. And this is parboiled rice, which is perfect for this recipe because it actually doesn't break down as you're cooking it. So use 2 cups of the rice. This recipe calls for 3 cups of stock, but I'm going to do 4. Doesn't really matter, the rice will absorb it. So this has come up to a simmer, which is what you want. Add the rice to this. Stir the rice around. while also ensuring that nothing sticks to the bottom. Then we'll add our liquid to this. Give it a good stir again. To ensure that none of the rice sticks at the bottom is the reason why I'm wanting to make sure that this is stirred and well incorporated. And then we'll add the meat back into it as well too. Now there's one thing I need to add to this as well too, is I need to add a couple of bay leaves. And I'll bring this back up to a boil. Once it comes up to a boil, I'll put the lid onto it. And I'll let it cook and simmer probably for 45, 50 minutes, give or take. I can stir it every once in a while to ensure that nothing sticks to the bottom. But that's basically all you have to do. There's not a lot of hands-on that goes into this. I think people make Cajun food out to be overly complicated. It's really not. So let me grab the bay leaves. We'll bring this back up to a simmer. And the majority of the dish is already done. And I'll be able to eat here in the next 45 minutes to an hour. So it's not going to take that long. There's one bay leaf. There's another bay leaf. We'll get these stuck down into here. And that's it. Once this is done, the rice will expand. The rest of the Dutch oven will be filled up with the cooked rice. Once it's done, you fluff it up and you're done. So there you go. The rice has been cooking and simmering now for about 20-25 minutes. I just uncovered it, but I've been stirring it along the way so it doesn't stick to the bottom. There is a little bit of liquid left in the bottom of this, but it will soon be quickly incorporated into it. I'm going to let it sit and simmer probably for about another 2 or 3 minutes. Let it cook off, boil down. The rice will absorb what's left. But as you can see, the rice itself is cooked. It's al dente. It's not chewy. It's not crunchy. It's as it's supposed to be. And I might add just a little bit of salt, but not a lot to this. It's got the perfect amount of heat because I added the 2 tablespoons of Cajun seasoning to this. So it doesn't need anything else added to it. No more pepper, no more heat, no nothing. I mean, you can add Tabasco sauce to this at the end on top of it, and you can garnish it with whatever you want. I do have some scallions that are out in the garden growing, so I'll add those as a topping onto this as well too. But this is what I fully expect and like about this dish. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Nothing's overly complicated about it. And this, because of the volume of it, will last me a week. No issues at all. So I'll give you a little preview of what this tastes like. So because the sausage is authentic Cajun sausage, I'm down here in Texas. So andouille sausage is found at most any good grocery stores, to include H-E-B. So if you don't have that kind of sausage, you could use a kielbasa or a smoked sausage of some kind or another. It's not that big a deal. But it's not over the top spicy. It's got a little bit of a kick to it, but I like my food spicy. It's got that smokiness to it that you would expect from a dish like this, because you did add, or at least I added, 3 tablespoons of smoked paprika to it. So the vegetables are cooked. The chicken is nice and tender. The sausage is good. The only thing that might be different about this is the fact that because I didn't use a green bell pepper and I used a hatch chili instead, might be the only noticeable difference that you would see in taste in this dish. But for me, it's not a huge deal. I've got poblanos that are out in my garden that I could add to this as well too. And in fact, if I make this dish again, this year, maybe in the next year, I probably will add the poblanos that I have growing in my garden, not let them go to waste. I mean, I could do other things with them as well too, but this is a perfect example of a dish that you could add that to it. So there you go. Bon appetit.